All right, welcome to another video from the chart readers. It looks like there is a lot of opportunity to make some money across this video, so do pay attention. Today we are going to do the bank and lending. We have 2, 4, 6 tickers. Again, it's a mix of the new school, a little mix of technology and old school versus really just a straight old school, right? Pretty much buildings with safes and all that, right? So we'll start on the tech side with SOFI and work through the rest. What are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We're going to look at the daily and the weekly to see what's setting up for a good swing. We have our 5 moving averages right here, and then these horizontal support and resistance lines that I do manually draw. And then once we're done up here, we'll end it with the MACD and RSI. So normally I end it down here, but very, very quickly. Beautiful RSI, beautiful MACD. They're both doing the same thing, right? It looks like they're both doing the takeoff. This is at 0, which I love. It's not at negative, whatever. This is at 60, which I love, right? Because we still have 70 and 80. There's plenty of room to go up, right? And hopefully it'll break out of this cluster, right? So real quick, I know we normally end down here, but I love it. With that, again, a lot to love over the last 2 days, right? It's really, really important to mention the major markets, right? So the Nasdaq had a monster day. The S&P had a really good day. And really the Dow Jones has just been amazing for a good while. It's really important to see that those continue on Monday because no stock is better than the major markets. And if all 3 of those go down, 90% of them, 90% of the little stocks like these will go down as well, right? Yeah, there'll probably be a couple that go up. But again, we're not here looking for that needle in the haystack. We're looking for some easy consistency, right? So again, if the majors do good, my goodness, let's just talk about the last 2 days before we kind of zoom out, right? Look, there was a monster day on earnings, right? I don't believe the earnings were necessarily great. I just think they weren't as bad as people expected. So boom, it opens up here, right? It opens almost at 650, but unfortunately ends down here, right? That's actually a horrible day for most people. Looks pretty because, you're going up, but yeah, that's bad. Horrible confirmation the next day, right? A little bit of recovery and then it just goes down. And then out of nowhere, and again, driven by the market, we get this. We get a break of the 8 and the 20 and then monster 10% confirmation the next day, right? Look, obviously this was confirmation to this because we broke these and we held it. But right now, I still need confirmation of this 50 break. And really, I also need confirmation on this 100, right? Which we still haven't done. So technically, we still need to almost wait till Tuesday. On Monday, I need to break this, which will be the first break of the 100 and confirmation of the 50. Then on Tuesday, I need to hold it. Okay, so again, this day, all it really did was give us confirmation of the 8 and the 20. And really, we've been over the 20 for a bit until we lost it right here, right? So the 8 and the 20 are not necessarily new. They're hopefully re-recoveries. This is the first real break of the 50 in honestly a good while, right? Till about right here. So I'm happy about that. But again, it still means nothing until we get it. Technically, if we close around 570 roughly, right? This actually says 565, right? But I would call that a healthy pullback. Again, we don't need a pullback because the RSI looks good. So I'm expecting a close of right here, at least 611. 611 will give us 50% of this thing, and then it'll get us nicely over the 100, right? I'm very much expecting that because of these two. Otherwise, I'll be really disappointed. The lowest it should probably go is my line right here of 582. But technically, I'm okay going as low as this. That said, again, if the majors are good, we're expecting at least 611. And I came right to the line again because, again, I'm just basically guessing the midpoint of this big candle right here, right? From there, look how much I have to zoom out. Your 200 is all the way at 723, right? That is a real nice gap. And it actually kind of happens on you know, this is a hard gap right here, right? Again, obviously there's some noise in between. But if this thing can crack 640 roughly, that's going to be a nice climb up. You know what I mean? So again, I would almost say that 640 number I referenced is hopefully where we get to by Tuesday. And then, hey, from there, we just run to the 200, right? That would be really nice. But again, SoFi looks great. I'm not trying to downplay how pretty the last 2 days look, how pretty the MACD and the RSI are lining up. Like, that's beautiful. I'm just sprinkling a little hesitation and pessimistic thoughts because, again, we're not out of this monster downtrend. The Dow Jones is, but Nasdaq is not, and SoFi is Nasdaq heavy, right? So this happened because there was a monster 7-day on the Nasdaq. Let's see what that does tomorrow, and again, that'll dictate a lot. So SoFi again looks real good. Loving this weekly chart, right? We were well under the 8, and we're now, look, last week, dang. So actually we did not close over the 8. This is the first week over. We got it this one. We did not get confirmation. We got it this one. RSI looks really bad actually, right? So what's this 20 at? Oh, it's only at 594. So really getting over 6 will be really important, obviously by Friday, right? So a lot to do, a good amount of trading before then and now. But yeah, if we can at least get over the 20, again, it's a little higher, but yeah, this might even take us to 8 something, right? We were around the 723 number, which is probably here, if I had to guess. Oh, still even higher than that. Nice. Yeah, look, again, good weekly. It would be a great weekly if today we're looking at it over the 20, right? That said, I'm still pretty happy with this daily chart as long as the majors open well. And really, if this thing can open over, I mean, honestly, even a penny over. No, I think this, if you have no money in, the safer entry would be at 597. Get in after the 100 and hopefully it keeps going. You know what I mean? So that is SoFi. BAC, Bank of America. Look at this thing. Again, actually a really similar chart to the Dow Jones, if I'm not mistaken. Look, just no zooming out. Look at where the moving average lines are. Not quite exactly it, but again, I remembered this 208 lining up, and it's kind of stacked under that. Yeah, not quite exactly how it looks, but close. Interesting. Nonetheless, look, all this has been doing is riding, right? This is a beautiful example of why I love the 8, why the 8 can be your best friend, right? Just keep going up, you break, you don't really get it, but look, right here, you have a cluster and the 8, and you bounce, which is nice. You lose it, but again, no confirmation down, you actually go back up, which is great. Try to get over the 200, can't quite do it, bounce off the 8. I love it, right? Again, this is a bread and butter company. This is Dow Jones at the heart, right? They have an app and stuff, but I mean, this is, I own buildings and have gold in my safe company, right? So that's why it should make sense that this does better than SoFi, right? So nonetheless, look, as long as the Dow Jones does well, this is a beautiful chart, and we're starting to get a little separation between the 8, which is great. Hopefully this keeps going up, making the 8 need to keep going up versus wanting to come back down. And look, we are technically confirmation over the 200 over all 5, and you've heard me say it. There's nothing safer than trading over moving averages, right? Than trying to have to like get through them. Look at all these struggles, right? So this really, really could be some great trading ahead. RSI is a little high. It's in the 80s, right? Obviously, I wish it was in the 50s, 60s so we can keep running. But yeah, a little baby cool down, and this thing will keep going, right? Okay, very interesting. So the weekly is at an important test right here. Okay, I think how this closes on Friday will be a real big thing. But look, you get through a cluster and you fly, right? I say that on the daily. It's even more magnified on the weekly. It's even, I normally don't go this far, right? But like, it means that much more on the monthly. There obviously isn't really one here, but like, there actually is a good, decent example of it right here, right? Clusters are hard. you go horizontal on the month, right? These are literally just months of horizontal, then you break it, right? So I'm not trying to get into too much theory, but again, back to just the basics. Look, I could see a cool down because 80 is a little high. We've definitely seen things run into the 90s, so don't get me wrong. This thing can keep going if the Monday opens right. But hey, I could very easily see us kind of come back to this 3660, bring the RSI down to 60, and then just hopefully monster bounce off the 200 up. You know what I mean? So that would be real nice for Bank of America. SoFi might be a little better in terms of gaining a bigger percentage in a short term, but Bank of America is a real nice slow and steady, right? And I'm telling you, if you work, you got a wife, maybe you've got kids, you've got cats, whatever it might be, there are people that just don't have time, right? And something like this, where you literally jump about 15% in a month span, and literally all you did was probably buy right here, or maybe even right here. Maybe not even a good 50%, but hey, you're at least climbing easy money right there, right? So again, to each their own, right? Wells Fargo, again, just like Bank of America, so you look and you can see it's about the same chart. A couple more red candles than the last chart, but nonetheless, nothing really would have screamed you should sell, right? This might have fooled some people, especially because it was kind of like a 2-day thing. But again, this is not the day you sell. It's either this day down here. No, you don't, because look, it actually comes back, right? You wait for confirmation, right? So that might have fooled some people. Hopefully not you. Again, same thing here. This might have scared some people. Definitely not you though, right? Hey, you know that this should be pretty hard to break because it's a cluster. If it breaks, for sure I'm going to get out and I'm not going to lose even more, right? But no, it doesn't. It holds, which is great, right? Riding the 8, just a little noisier than Bank of America. I will say Wells Fargo has a better RSI, right? I do like that this is 60. Unfortunately, the readings aren't as positive as Bank of America was, right? Both were green over red, green over red. I guess this was a little tighter, but that whole time green was over red. Wells Fargo, just a little uglier, I guess, and I think that speaks to why there were a couple more red days, in that. But hey, look at this weekly. This is a good weekly, right? Man, and look at this. This is a nice doji. So look, we got confirmation, and the confirmation was a doji. So a lot of people were indecisive in this week, right? But we at least closed over and well over the candle. If this does well, this is going to fly. This because we're already over all of them. If everybody believes and we can get over this 49.30, I can easily see this coming up here. Keep Wells Fargo on your radar for sure. And again, it's a little healthier RSI, so it could do some nastier things on the daily than Bank of America could, right? Bank of America, I was talking about needing a healthy cool down. This thing doesn't need that. This thing just needs to do well and it'll fly. So watch it. If you have no money in this, I would put an entry. I would put an alert at 47.97. If we can get over this, we should make our way up, right? That's how it should go. Cool. Wells Fargo. Let me zoom in just a little bit more and come down to Rocket. Okay, look at this. So Rocket did what SoFi couldn't. I literally said it would be so much nicer if we were looking at it with the candle broken on the 100. So also, not only that, Rocket broke the 50 and the 8 and the 20 on the single day. So again, look at these two and then look at SoFi. SoFi couldn't get over the 50, right? Obviously did here, but couldn't get over the 100. That's why I needed until Tuesday to get both confirmations and then run in on Wednesday. Rocket, RKT, Rocket did the work earlier. Beautiful gap up, breaking both, confirmation of all three, plus a break of the 100 and a break of my 806. And we're not wildly high on the RSI. And look at the takeoff on those. Man, I'm loving all of that. Oh my gosh. And there's a gap up right here. Ladies and gentlemen, Rocket might be the best one on the video for the day. We still have two left, but Rocket looks real good. Looks like it wants to get to this 910. If it can get to the 910, you're gonna break the 200 for the first time in a while. Look, we've at least been able to break the 100 and make a run, right? So let's talk about the 100 first, because again, we need tomorrow's confirmation. I don't want to get too excited, get too greedy, and overlook the confirmation, right? But I like the fact that we made some noise with the 100. We made some noise with the 100. Couldn't quite do it, and it took us a real long time to actually make noise, bounce off of it, come back off of it again, and then eventually lose it, right? But there's been enough tests and breaks of this 100 resistance that, hey, I do think if we can open at 807, obviously this is at 809, right? So 810 would be a good number. But yeah, if this can open at 810, 910 seems realistic, and that's well over 10% because 80 cents is 10% right there, right? From there, I'll make some lines on the weekly, I think, but yeah, look at that. Actually, this will be a line. I'll just make it so we can see it on the daily, but okay, let's actually do this correctly. I made the line based on this candle, and it lines up there perfectly. So that's why you don't cheat. Okay, I got lazy right there. I'm sorry. And then I'll use this up here, and then we'll use that right in between. You know, I do like when the distances are the same. First, they're real fat here, and then the next one's kind of tightened up, right? So at least they're kind of staying together. Nonetheless, these are some good lines, and hold on, let's talk about the weekly real quick. Love that. Love that. Did we? We did. We broke the 20. I love that. Again, as long as we can close over, you know, basically 810. Let's even just take 810. Let's get over this candle. But if we can close up, that is so good for the weekly. Because again, a good weekly with good RSI and good MACD really means a good daily, right? Because then you just kind of go in feeling either 3 of the 5 are going to be good, or you'll get one monster day, and even if you get 4 bad ones, the monster should hold up because the weekly still should hold up well, right? So again, that's why I do stress the weekly. Rocket looks good. I still have 2 left. I'm going way too slow. Loan Depot, look, I actually liked Loan Depot a bit ago, right? So yeah, I think it was around this. It made this nice run, clearly failed. I have no idea if this was because of earnings or what happened, right? But again, there's a couple things happening, right? First off, interesting, it actually pretty much failed on my line. It wasn't even close to anything else. Yeah, nice. So good job line right here, right? But we see this actually would have been a bad confirmation day too. That would have fooled some people. I'll be real honest, right? Because it does close above. Obviously, you know, it didn't get over this line, but nonetheless, we got over these. And yeah, I won't pretend right there. That was an easy fool. How high was the... Okay, it was 80. Hopefully the high RSI gave some people thought that maybe we get a cool down, right? And this kind of came down to the cool down, made it seem like it was going to go up too. Again, this would have fooled a lot of people, but we didn't get the confirmation and it just crashed, right? Right now, we're over this cluster of 4, right? So theoretically, if this opens well, I think we'll come back up to this 179, right? Not quite as good MACD and RSIs as we've seen, but again, we're over all of these. If we can get confirmation, that'd be great. And look, we at least got over the 50 confirmation, right? So tomorrow's will be a confirmation for 3 if it happens. But Loan Depot in a cluster, hopefully it works. And again, I'm going to just say it one more time. As this got this high, you can see it again on the box over there. The RSI was 79, right? As we start to get to 80, I always say get ready for a cool down, right? So that spoke of that right there. Look, technically we're over the 20 on the weekly, and we're definitely over the 8 for the last 3 weeks. That said, we're kind of coming a little more down than I'd like to be, right? So hopefully next week is good and kind of makes our way back here. But again, we've seen better weekly charts and daily charts on this video. So Loan Depot, not quite top of the list, but hey, it's not looking bad by any means. Lending Club, let's zoom out a little bit. Man, Lending Club has just been on an ugly downtrend. Definitely a good 3-day recovery. But again, there are way better stocks that we've seen on this, right? This thing is still kind of fighting with all these. The one good thing is they're not super clustered. There's actually, like we see here, enough for 2 days to kind of make its way and then break it on the third day. 2 days up, break it on the third day. And like that, it's less about fighting resistances every day, which becomes really hard, right? Like it's like running hurdles, right? If they're spaced out a little better, I am a lazy, unable to run hurdle guy. So like I'm assuming this, but if they're further apart, you're probably gaining a little time in between them, right? So I should probably make analogies I really know better. But hey, we're over the 8 on the weekly. Again, that's simply rule number 1. But there are other weeklies we liked better because they were over the 20 or maybe others, right? But yeah, again, the last 2 aren't that bad, but there were better ones. Look at Rocket for sure. Wells Fargo is an interesting one, but look at SoFi and Rocket before Wells Fargo, and Bank of America just killing it with the riding of the 8. A little longer than expected, but I hope you're learning.